All right. I would say let's get started. Welcome everyone to our first demo day. Here at KYVE, we have some exciting things to show regarding some network updates with some improvements coming along, a lot of tech stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. Maybe first of all, let's start off with like some words about me. So I'm Fabian, the CEO and co-founder of KYVE. Together with John, I co-founded KYVE in February last year actually. So we are like roughly celebrating. So we are also excited for that. And yeah, maybe some words about me first. So I'm a software developer from Germany. Got into the crypto space, I would say in 2019 by doing like some minor crypto projects, and then really got into crypto in summer 2020 over at Arweave, where I was doing like some little project there called Verify, where basically you could verify different people, then we could say if like an address is a bot or not. And John actually kind of co-founded and developed this along with me. This is how we two met. And then yeah, in February we started working on KYVE, and since ever then have been working together. Troy, who is one of our blockchain developers, and will also like kind of present some tech updates today, joined us also very recently, actually. In Troy, correct me if I'm wrong, but it must be like around Octoberish time, probably.
Yes, it was.
So yeah, perfect. So this is kind of the current setup, and yeah, I will just try to moderate the whole thing now, and then John, maybe you can give some words about you.
Yeah, of course. So hey everyone, I'm John. Sorry, I can't turn on my camera. It's a Discord limit. But yeah, super excited for the demo day today. Yeah, we got some really cool things to show you guys. A little bit about myself. Like Fabian, I'm a software developer. Been doing it for a really long time. Got into Arweave in the Arweave ecosystem summer of 2020, where then I met some great people there and helped co-found Verdo, which is the first decentralized exchange on Arweave, if you're familiar with the Arweave ecosystem. And then yeah, from there started working with Fabian, and then yeah, helped him co-found KYVE in February.
Amazing. And then maybe Troy, you can also say, quickly introduce yourself.
So yes, of course. So I'm Troy. I'm a software developer at KYVE, and I started also as a software developer at a German bank. And I got into crypto when Fabian introduced me in his project because he needs some help. And yeah, since then I'm fully into it.
Amazing. All right, let's start off with kind of the first topic for today, which would basically be just some basic problems we had with Moonbase Alpha coming up, and we know that the community was kind of facing some issues with Moonbase Alpha. So yeah, John will say just some quick words around that.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, so obviously, as you guys notice in the community, a lot of the times we are experiencing problems with Moonbase Alpha, whether or not it's related to their endpoints going down, or more recently, like a few weeks back, the actual just network just stopped running. So yeah, so just wanted to mention briefly there that obviously we're still in testnet, and obviously Moonbase Alpha is actually the testnet of the Moonbeam, Moonriver networks. So obviously, just bear in mind that these things do happen, and we do understand it, and we try our best to mitigate the problem.
Where are you based?
Sorry?
Huh? Okay, sorry. Look, gonna continue talking. So yeah, so obviously we try to mitigate these problems as best as we can. And yeah, of course, we have the status page in there. But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that as soon as we hit mainnet, we're going to be obviously deploying on the Moonbeam and Moonriver networks, and so that is a lot more stable than the Moonbase Alpha testnet.
All right. And then coming up next are some pool stability issues we were facing, and also maybe John continue on that as well.
Yeah, of course. So a lot of the times we see a lot of questions like, oh, why am I not receiving rewards from my nodes? Or obviously your node is just stuck there, not printing any logs. So just wanted to touch on this as well, because obviously as we're integrating with all these different blockchains, we're using all these different RPC endpoints, and we try to pick the most stable ones. So obviously the ones provided by the community, as well as the foundations themselves for each blockchain. But of course, as everything in crypto, stuff does manage to go down sometimes. So yeah, so we're experiencing some issues right now with like the Solana endpoint, for example, or the Avalanche WebSocket endpoint as well. So just note to self that the network upgrade, which Troy will talk about in a little bit, is going to bring a lot more stability, as well as just better RPC endpoints. But yeah, just wanted to touch on that.
All right, let's jump into the quick demo.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the demo of our new protocol update for this latest KYVE version. As you guys can see, the most prominent update we have introduced here is the introduction of our dashboard, where you now finally can see all of your key metrics. It starts off by your portfolio overview, where you can see your funded and your delegated token amounts. You can see the actions you have taken here, how much time you funded, delegated, voted some blocks, and so on. So if you guys are a node operator, you should now get a much better overview here. The only requirement to see this is that you are logged in with your MetaMask account. And then goes on by your nodes overview. With this account, we're not running any nodes, but if you do, you can see everything there. You can see how many blocks it has created and so on. It looks exactly the same on delegation. So this is the wallet we at KYVE mostly use for delegation to some nodes. And you can see here how much KYVE this node has staked, the voting power, your APY, and so on. If you would like to manage your delegation, just click on that window and you can see all of your rewards and everything happening going on here. I think it's pretty intuitive. And you should see a very good overview about what's happening on this side of things. And then goes down with funding. If you fund the pool, you can also see that here. You can manage it from here. You see your sub positions and so on. So I think it gives you a very nice overview about what's happening and what's going on in a very, I would say, condensed way. And yeah, if you check this every day, you shouldn't have any problems kind of managing your nodes. If we now jump over into the pool section, you can also see some prominent updates happening here. One is that you can now see the archive percentage going on. You see the validators. We have increased the number of validators up to 50 instead of 20. So when you now click on a pool, you can see here that everything is now kind of slowly loading in. And you see now the gigabytes we have stored on our If you see the index to height, you see all of your portfolio for this pool specifically. Here on the dashboard, it was all of your tokens combined, and here it's only for the given pool. You see the cost per blocks, and you see some other metrics going on. You can copy out the pool ID here. If you operate a node, you also see the new runtime here. On funders, you could see your funding slots and so on. I think this might be our address. Yes, this is our address. So we are funding this pool with a lot of KYVE here to provide you guys the rewards. And then I think the node tab changed a bit. You can now filter by some other stuff. You see here everything. What is going on? You see all the nodes, kind of same as on the dashboard view, but now everything is pool specific. And then on the activity tab, you can now see who is the uploader. So with this update, right, we've introduced the changing uploader effect, meaning that now every time someone would make a proposal and it gets validated, then a new node is selected as the uploader. And you can see here the vote weights on this block, if it's either valid or invalid. You see the bundle sizes here, you see the time when it got created, and you see that there's a current bundle being in process. And then you also introduced the new dynamic bundle size. So if you go to the earliest blocks where not much data is in the transactions, you can see that now here we have bundled 3,000 blocks or 3,500 blocks, even for example, in one bundle, which the validators are working on. And then here you can see that the data got more rich, right? It got more and more data into one block. And now you can see we are bundling up less blocks with a high amount of megabytes, but they're all getting stored and archived on our The overview is exactly the same for the other pools. So I can highly recommend you guys checking that out. And next feature would be the governance. The governance is one of the biggest features we've implemented for this protocol update. It aims to further fully decentralize KYVE as its own protocol, meaning that we as a team now don't have any control over everything. It all started off by us as a team managing the uploader, right? If you remember that from the old update, it was always the team node, which was the latest uploader going on. Just gives us a bit more of control over everything, and we were able to debug things more easy and so on. And then things got more stable, so we decided to start implementing this round robin system where now every time the new bundle is selected, we get a new uploader. And to kind of strengthen the decentralization of KYVE, we also introduced the protocol governance. As you can see here, everyone could create a proposal where you give it a title, some description, what you would like to do. Is it like a pool update? Is it a pool creation? Is it some other things? You would put in the function signature here, values, and your call data. You can generate that basically outside of it, we could also do a more in-depth tutorial about that if requested. And then after the proposal would be created, you would see it here. And then you could vote on it with your KYVE tokens. And then this kind of aims to further, of course, decentralize it. And right now, just to keep the debugging and maintenance a bit more easier, we as a team have a multisig wallet where we can create pools, do updates, do hot fixes in case something goes wrong. And then at some point in time, the governance could vote on disable the team's multisig so that we as a team doesn't have any control anymore over the whole protocol, and then it would be fully owned by the governance. But for now, for maintenance reasons, both the governance and the multisig are enabled at the same time. You can vote on any configuration. You can vote on protocol updates. You can vote on pool creation, pool updates, manual slashing, which is important, right? If you see any unexpected behavior where our slashing mechanisms wouldn't step in automatically, and then all of this would be handled with the KYVE governance. On the faucet, nothing much has changed. You can still claim your tokens on Twitter. It's very, very important that if you work with this new update, you add the new token, which is something we had to introduce in order to kind of reset everything. So just click on add token, and then add it to your MetaMask, and then you're good to go. And then make sure you claim the 1,000 KYVE again, because all the previous tokens you would have owned would be set to 0. And then we also are going to introduce this, but this is a later update, some new ways of claiming your tokens instead of Twitter, and also give you the options of claiming daily and so on. But for now, it's Twitter and the new tokens, so they're very important that you make sure that everything is set. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this little walkthrough about what we've introduced, what the team has been working on, and I'm excited to see you out there for the next updates.
So let me just quickly jump over to the Q&A channel and ask any questions. And then CryptGamer is asking, is your code open source in GitHub? Yes, most of our code is already open source. What we have done, because our repository grew a bit, is we have separated the integrations, the integration implementation from the core code into a separate repository. We will also kind of publish a quick release around that, so you have like all the integrations in one place, so it's a bit easier to get an overview over that. And then anything else, yes, it's open source. And at the new GitHub, just like github.com/KYVE network, you should find all your code and kind of everything regarding to that. And if you have any questions regarding code, always just feel free to ping one of the developers from the team, and we're always happy to help you out on that. Sure. So basically, exactly, the funding feature is probably one of the features where most people had some troubles understanding it, because it's quite of a unique system. So basically, the data flow in KYVE works is that you have one of those storage pools, which then have the nodes, right? And the nodes, they upload the data, they validate it, and then of course they want to get rewarded for this. And this is where the pool funding comes in. So basically anyone who is interested in getting access to the data, it could be a protocol, could be us as KYVE, right, which say, well, we want to do something with the data. We would provide funding for this pool, meaning we would just acquire some KYVE tokens and put them in the pool. And then over time, this funding would get paid out to all the nodes as a reward. And if the funding would run out, so like go to 0, basically the pool pauses, and then none of the nodes would be able to upload data. And this is kind of the key concept behind our like tokenomics, right? Because what we want is projects or like data providers being dependent on the stream of data we are uploading, right? So of course, then whenever a stream runs out, but someone else, let's say some indexing service, for example, is utilizing our data, then they would acquire new KYVE tokens, put them in the pool, and then have them drip through to the nodes. And this is kind of the basic system. So I would say for the average user, you guys would not need to fund the pool. I mean, we are happy to always have some funders. It's basically like crowdfunding, if you think about that. But we see the funding feature more of a corporational level, where you have companies like the Graph or some other indexers like saying, hey, we need access to the data because we are monetizing it in some way to one of our users. So we would basically provide the funding for that. It's like providing liquidity on an liquidity pool, for example, right? Which is something, you just do in high demands, I would say. So this is kind of the main idea, I would say, for like the most average user, which just want to get in contact with KYVE, work with it, and for sure earn some rewards. Then delegation is kind of the way to go, especially with the new update and now delegation being risk-free. It's also super kind of an interesting mechanic to do that. Are you dealing only with data archival, or do you also have to retrieve the archived data is one of the questions. And then, for example, once the data is archived, how easily or difficult is it to retrieve the data? So for now, KYVE as a protocol only focuses on the data storage aspect, meaning that we do like the data encoding, we compress it and then store it onto Arweave. But we, of course, are also working on some ways to make it easy to retrieve the data. There will be an update around this coming out very, very soon. So kind of stay tuned for anything exciting around that. And then we will make it as easy as possible for any developers to be able to access the data. And then, of course, we also work together with different indexing services to also like add some additional functionality around the data retrieval and things like that. But KYVE as a protocol is purely focused on the data storage aspect of things. And yeah, I can see 2 other people are typing, so let's wait for the question. Oh, there it is, perfect. Are you considering to use USDC or other user-nominated stable as a payment for KYVE validators, operators from that company that you mentioned, the Graph? So basically, the way the uploading works or has worked before, which is also something excited we kind of implemented, is we're now cooperating with the Arweave bundler service, which basically allows users to pay for Arweave storage in any currency. And we're working very close with their founder, which is Josh, and he's implementing right now ERC20 support, meaning that you as a node operator would basically be able to pay in kind of any in any currency you want. So it would most likely be KYVE tokens for your for the data uploading. And then in the future, of course, if we have like some DeFi infrastructure set up where we do have access on Moonbeam, for example, would be like SushiSwap, then of course you could also do like some fancy AMA thing where you would route some KYVE tokens through the through some AMM to USD or the other way around, basically, in theory, enabling you to pay for KYVE on other storage in USD. When some of the data review mechanisms, how to avoid potentially sensitive or child pornography? It's actually a very, very good question, which comes up quite often when working with Arweave, right? Because permanent storage is very interesting because you really have to ask yourself, like, what do you want to store permanently? And actually, the answer to that is, we as KYVE right now really don't have any data review mechanism to potentially, I don't know, right, filter out some porn data or anything. But with now, especially the governance coming in, right, and the DAO into KYVE, they are, of course, able to identify this sensitive data. So then you are able to completely pause the pool, right, slash the nodes, which have staked a lot of money to be able to upload the data. So first of all, it's kind of course, like a mechanism from the DAO to step in at that point and do it. And then also Arweave nodes on the data storage are able to like basically come to consensus to drop transactions. So then what we could do as KYVE, if we would identify, well, there is which is uploading some malicious data, is that we could basically then reach out to the Arweave nodes and say, hey, look at that, you guys for sure didn't want to store that data, and then they can find consensus about dropping this data if you would ever want to remove it from Arweave. But in the first place on our side is, of course, the DAO or the governance, which can then step in, making sure that that basically, yeah, this data isn't uploaded. And then I will go to Antonio's question. If I delegated, but then the pool went, but then the node probably, right, went off the top 20, my tokens are also gone. So it's the same as before. Your tokens aren't gone. They are basically just still stuck with the node, which is not in the top 20. Also meaning that your nodes would not generate any rewards. So of course, it's very important that you kind of keep track of your delegation. And I think with the new dashboard coming in, it makes it a lot easier for you. Basically that, yeah, you can keep track of which nodes you have delegated to. And then, of course, you would want to undelegate from that node and delegate it again to one of the nodes where you have some more confidence in that it won't drop out of the top 20. The validator gets the reward, but the one who delegated doesn't. So what the node can do, or the validator, he can set a commission rate, let's say 90%, right? This would mean that 90% of the rewards would basically go to the node and 10% of the rewards would go to the delegation. So every node have their own commission rate, which basically the node then can set to attract more and less delegators to them. So basically you can get a, you will get some rewards if you've delegated. And now Discord is scrolling out, 1 second. Do you fight tokenized fake accounts? So kind of talking about that is, of course, now that we are in testnet, it's kind of hard to fight them, right? Because anyone can get free testnet tokens. We do have some bot protection coming in on the Twitter Discord. We are also, by the way, working on like some daily claiming Discord faucet, just in case you guys want to get more tokens, you want to play around with that more. That's also one of the feedbacks we have gathered. So that's for sure coming in. And then, of course, once we reach the real mainnet, right? And after the incentivized test, it will be hard to actually create like kind of tokenized fake accounts, because the amount of money you would need to have is basically just skyrocketing on that, and it's not economically worth it for anyone to do it. And then will there more test tokens KYVE be released? I think, Kang, that kind of goes into the question with the Discord bot. So let's see kind of what's happening on that. We hope that the daily claim will allow more users to kind of be active on it daily. And then actually, what's the role of the NFT? And you're actually right. It is kind of like an early badge from our side, where we just want to like say thanks to you guys for participating in those community calls, and yeah, just be active in the network. And of course, we want to reward you with that. And that's the reason why we put out some NFTs for that.
Actually, so just jumping in here real quick about the NFT, there actually will be an NFT that you can claim for this call. The claiming is going to be open from 11 a.m. UTC until 11:30 a.m. UTC. It's on the Matic network. It's going to be super cheap to claim, but it's going to cost like a little bit of Matic to claim. But yeah, we'll drop the link in there as well so that you guys can jump on that as soon as it's 11 a.m.
Amazing. So same token graph queries stuff. So basically, the graph querying system is still on its own. We're not interfering with that. So basically, if the graph would utilize, oh, so it's already sending in the contract. So if basically the graph would say, well, we want to use the data which is kind of uploading for the indexes as a starting point. Well, then of course you can still query KYVE data through the graph, right? Which is not a problem for us, because it's still very complementary to our token model with this funding slot, right? Because then the graph would be highly incentivized to keep the pool of data basically running. So they would purchase KYVE tokens and then fund the pool with that. And then how does the project differ from established giants in the markets, and what are your strengths? And that's actually a very, very good question, because there is a lot of stuff going on. But I would say we as KYVE, we have the big strength that we are able to connect to so many chains that easily. For the developers in here, I can just highly recommend you kind of checking out our integrations, because they are just a few lines of code, and it's very, very easy to kind of get them started. So that's kind of the first entry point. And then, of course, that we choose Arweave as our storage backend gave us the most flexibility in terms of permanent data storage, which is very, very unique, because our data is stored permanently, meaning forever, and you just paid for it once, which is an absolute benefit you don't get for any other chain. Because we as KYVE really don't need to worry about our data storage solution, where other chains need to like build their own kind of data storage solutions, things like that. But we are really just utilizing Arweave, which is already one of the best ones out there. And then, of course, another strength we have is of course also that we only focus on kind of the storage part for now, which makes it of course a lot easier for us to really focus on that. And then you still have like other giants, like the graph, for example, right, which are highly optimized for data retrieval, where we really didn't touch any points for now. So that's of course very easy for them, because it's highly complementary with them and us. Let me scroll down a bit. Why the NFT does look like the devil have a horn. I don't know, actually. we need to have a look at that. And yeah, claim function is open half an hour. If there aren't any other questions coming in, feel free to put them in here. If not, we are already kind of running out of time. Maybe just one or two last questions, maybe. And yeah. So I can ensure you that that the KYVE devil does not have any lore attached with a devil. But actually, it might be time to create some lore around KYVE. That would be funny. I could see Reddit going crazy over that. Julian is actually one which came up with the bull design. So yeah. All right. I would say let's close the voice channel for now. And if there are any other questions coming in the next minutes, I'm happy to just answer them via text. And we kind of, I would say, kick it off from there. Other than that, thank all of you guys for participating. I can see a lot of people here. It's crazy, and it was a lot of fun. We hope that you guys enjoy the updates, enjoy kind of the new version of KYVE, and thank you guys so much for helping, testing everything on that, and yeah, stay tuned for any updates. So see ya and enjoy the rest of your day.